Hey everyone, welcome to Outmaneuver. This is Jrod, and this is the lovely MJ. So we're going to be doing some questions with them. So let's dive in. The first question I have is, what is your favorite Star Wars character?
I've been telling people a lot today that as a kid, I was a big fan of Grievous and Mace Windu because of the old Clone Wars cartoon. They were the coolest, therefore, like A to B.
Are you talking about the one with Frodo in it? The real old one with Grievous? Like the
Tartakovs.
Yeah. Okay. I should go watch that one, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
It's cool.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Nowadays, everyone that comes by this table, I'm like, have you seen Andor? If not, you must watch Andor.
Mm-hmm.
So Cassian's really become one of my favorite characters very fast, and a lot of the other characters from that show too. I was talking with a different interviewer as well about a lot of the cast of the Jedi games, Jedi Survivor. Marin is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I like Marin and Cal both a lot.
Awesome. All right. Well, we just recently found out that you were one of the lead designers for Set 4. I know you can't spoil a card here, but what is your favorite card's number that's associated with, if you remember offhand?
It's actually easy to remember because I'm pretty certain the number is 1, 2, 3.
Oh, easy enough. Okay. All right. So if you see 1, 2, 3, check it out.
Yeah, it's a single green. It's a single green event. So
okay.
I think it's an uncommon 1 cost. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Anyways.
Awesome. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that one. All right. So we'll dive into one more here. What is your favorite play style? And when you're typically designing cards, is that something that you will lean towards, cards that the style that you enjoy more, or do you try to space it out a bit more?
I've told people before I'm the resident Timmy. I like big monsters. I like putting a bunch of just swarming on the field, right? I enjoy not having to take too long in deck building, just kind of throw in stuff that I love and that's gonna make a big impact, and it's just cool as it is. I don't really design specifically for that though. It is a very different mindset when you're designing cards as opposed to playing. I love playing for the casualness and just hanging out and going fast. But when you're really sitting in design mode, you can be sitting there thinking of ways to do elegant modality that's very cool for spiky competitive stuff, or tuning in Live the Dream card that needs a lot of support to work but hypothetically could do a bunch. It's something that I want to see a lot more of in the game as it goes, is those kind of not quite viable but the dream is incredible.
I have one.
Yeah.
Double green Palpatine with Endless Legions. I have 3 Jessies, Admiral Piet, 3 Crate Dragons, Darth Maul. I kill you in 1 action.
That's sweet. You give him the droid so Maul can
Yeah.
That's so funny.
If you have Piet and Crate Dragons, you're just I kill you in 1 action. You're at 0 and now you're just dead.
That's funny.
I want to do it to 1 person at least.
Yeah.
So my locals, watch out.
One of the staff lent me a deck to play with yesterday, and it was just a Yoda aggro deck, and they're I lost 10 games in a row, and I got 1. The last one I won. I was yes,
got 1. All you need is 1. That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So what are the factors that are looked for when it comes to a card being a rare versus a legendary?
The most obvious answer is just excitement factor. We want really exciting legendaries. The next layer beneath that is in terms of character popularity. Legendary is kind of this weird spot because it's very rare, right? It does not occur often. And so on the one hand, you want really popular characters in legendary slots because it's whoa, this is a character I love. They're super powerful in canon. But also, if you want really niche things, legendary is often a slot you can put it without making an entire pack be full of characters that a casual fan doesn't recognize.
Yeah.
So wanting a balance of that is, I think, important. On a mechanical level, rare is different from uncommon usually in that it's doing uncommon-esque things, but more of them, right? It just is more text. It can often earn the smaller font size. Legendary also has more text, but it tends to be doing things that are a little less precedented. Right, when I'm designing the cards that are the most out there, like we've never done a card that does this before, or we've never put these two type of abilities together before, that tends to be like, it's not just complicated in terms of scale, but also in terms of like game literacy, right? This isn't a game where it's like, oh, it's like that thing. It's like, this is its own thing, and you just need to play it to understand it.
How often would you say, I'm going to bounce off this question a little bit, how often would you say a card is changed from, let's say, common to uncommon or uncommon to rare based on its effectiveness in draft? Like if it's a weird niche card, is that something that, like, if it was in common, like, it's not really great in draft, we want to see it less?
It switches pretty frequently. Sometimes it switches surprisingly late. We'll have, it's always like a single rotation, right? Common and uncommon, uncommon and rare, rare and legendary. It usually doesn't skip two. Most often, it's because of doing the like Jenga game of trying to get all the aspects and distributions of rarity right, and just finding like, oh, we could make the switch. This could be a rare or an uncommon, and it'll help us make room for this other change we want to do. It's not often that draft testing will change rarities, but it's definitely happened before where it's like, I'd rather this card wasn't showing up like as a weird bomb like quite this often. That's only like 15% of the time though.
Okay, awesome. I love drafts. I had to ask that question. So.
I love draft too. It is the thing I play with TCGs. I don't want to build decks too much, as I said earlier. I just want to show up and hang out with people and like pull packs and play.
Yeah, it's awesome. I unofficially hold the title of most set one drafts of a non-FFG staff member.
Wow.
I drafted 3 times a week for the first 2 months the game released.
Okay, that's 3, 4, 12, 4. So like a little, like maybe 26-ish.
Just about. So I'm looking for someone to beat that. So if you think you've beaten that, hit me up.
It's a lot.
But until then, I'm holding it.
I did the math once on how many times we draft test a set before it finishes, and now I'm like trying to do it again in my head. Be like, have you drafted as much? Part of me just wants to, like, I can just sit here and think about it, and that's a fun thing to get. It used to be different too because we changed our schedules for draft testing. I'm gonna guess like low 30s.
Okay, so it's close.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know that one was tough to draft too because obviously the shortage of product a little bit on there. So that was, I couldn't do more. I tried, but everyone dried up around me. So
yeah.
But love it. Let's see. Our next question here. So set one, arguably the best card in that was Vader. Might be Luke now, but they're pretty close. 1A, 1B. Yep. Then set two we had Maul, which was a pretty budget-friendly, similar version to Vader. Obviously, there's some different aspects to it, but you could put it in your deck and feel pretty decent about not having Vaders if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Then set two we had Poe, which was one of the best cards in that set. And then in set three we have Anakin, who same aspect colors, same stat line, same cost. They do very different things. Obviously, Poe having a little bit more functionality, but if you needed a cost at that curve, you could put a cheaper Anakin in your deck. Is that something you guys designed intentionally, or that you guys accidental?
That's not a thing that I was there for specifically, so I don't like know the specifics.
Yeah.
But that said, we have from the outside wanted to make like common, uncommon, starter exclusive, special rarity cards like pretty strong. We're doing a Secret Santa where we're making like cards of each other, and everyone said if they got me, they were gonna make it like a busted common. It's just like a 2/6/6 or something, because I always fight with people. I was just telling them earlier, I had nightmares last night of fighting over making commons too strong. It's a really weird thing to have a dream of.
Well, Xander told me that he wanted to design a common for one of the future sets. You're gonna let him do that?
Yeah. I can't promise it'll like get through testing, but I'll give him a shot. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like year one, kind of like figuring out what cost curves and vanilla tests are. I think leaves room for those things to be exciting on stats alone. I think as the card pool expands, and also our like more scientific, like quantifiable understanding of balance and how it like accounts for rarity and limited versus constructed. As all of that deepens, I think we will continue to see exciting stats like that on a variety of rarities, right? Like Anakin is super in line for like a 2-color unique, right?
Yeah.
It's got really cool, exciting stats, and it has like a sometimes helpful ability. It's a little bit more than like a Battlefield Marine-esque thing.
And he's Force, which is always good.
And he's Force, yeah, Force is great.
And the correct color to be in Force too.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, I'm almost certain it was somewhat intentional, but also that will just expand, right? You'll see more of that in multiple places.
Well, personally, even though I'm a very competitive player, I do hope we see more of that to help newer players get into the game and enjoy it and not feel like, you know, they're getting priced out because they can't go buy 3 Darth Vaders or something like that. So I love that.
It's not even just like a price thing. It's a complexity thing, right? Like having a strong card that's like, this is usually just a 6/6, and every once in a while I get to draw a card is like very, very accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Did you always know that set 4 was going to be the space theme set, or was that something that came along with designing the set?
Yeah. We were given like, here are the year 2 sets. Like rank them in terms of what order you would want to do them. And a lot of the rankings was then us. Me, Joe, John, Ryan, like just talking to each other about which one do you really want, so I won't put that one as number 1.
Yeah.
Joe really wanted to be on set 5. Ryan really wanted to be on set 6. And so both not wanting to step on their toes. And also, I've said multiple times I loved Armada. I think me and Tyler are the ones with the most like knowledge of just like random starships and stuff. It made sense to hop on there.
Awesome. Okay. Now that we've seen piloting in Set 4, was there ever a time where the leader itself deployed into space, or were there always upgrades?
There were always upgrades. The leader deployed to space as a ship is problematic for a couple reasons. Like one, for name matters cards, it gets weird because you no longer control them, even though they're like implicitly in the cockpit. It's also a production thing of like, we would have to pay twice as much art, right? We need to get twice as much art for that card, and we can do that, but we shouldn't do it like flippantly, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's not something we would do unless we were pretty certain about it. It's definitely not off the table. I've like made prototypes like recently that are doing that just to kind of mess around with it. But from the outset, I think we were pretty confident. It's like, this is trying to keep that split of like, Star Wars is, we're getting shots inside the cockpit. It matters that we're seeing Luke inside the X-Wing, and like keeping those pilots to stand out and be important and distinct and have their names still visible as you're playing.
Yeah, I get that. I guess, and we have Palpatine that has different art, so I'm sure that one costs double to do. But that one makes sense too. It's like that's one of my, I have a showcase for it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite decks to play. So that I guess that was
one that Tyler was like, we have to do this card in this set. It has to happen, right? That's where that confidence is like, we will request this and we won't make anyone regret it, right?
Yeah, because then, I mean, if you're doing it on all of them just for the whole set, that's 16 of them, that's like a lot.
Right.
So I get that.
Yeah, we were saying it's like a little over half the leaders are pilots in set 4, and so it's like 10 to 12 like being doubled. So yeah, it's definitely significant, but doable. And I think it would be cool to do at some point.
Awesome. Okay. With you being a design lead on Set 4 and a large part of Twin Suns, were there any cards designed specifically with Twin Suns in mind? Obviously, you don't have to say which ones they are, but just...
No, not really. Every once in a while, we might make a minor modification, but, you know, without naming other games, we want to be careful to not be shooting from the hip on things that, you know, we don't fully understand yet, right? We don't want to be making cards intended for other formats in a way that isn't clear to players. Like when a player opens a pack, it's cool if they work nicer in those places, but it really should be mostly emergent, right? It should be like, oh, this thing happens to also be good here. We don't want to start taking over conversations with that stuff, because it seems like a slippery slope, right, of trying to determine where the line is. It's something we could very well revisit in the future, but like for the time being, I've tried to stay away from it in general.
Okay. Is there a different feeling for you for players to see set 4 compared to the first 3 sets, as this is your first set designing? I would imagine so. But...
Absolutely. For like year 1, I wrote down like a list of cards I really liked or had a hand in, and for year 1 it's like 6 cards total, right? Maybe less. And then for set 4 alone, there's like 3 times, 4 times that many that I'm like, that's a cool card that I helped make.
Name a couple cards.
I'll tell the blue hero rare leader. I fought really hard for, and I love it.
Okay.
It's very thematic. The green villain rare leader is. You might be able to guess what it does or what it helps based on other things I've said about what I like about set 4. It's very Timmy. It's very fun.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I actually mentioned on the stream when we showed the art for Luke and the Snowspeeder.
Yeah, I remember that.
We actually didn't have Luke and the Snowspeeder in the original batch. And when I joined on, I was like, why isn't Luke and the Snowspeeder in this set? And they were like, I don't know. I was like, can we rush art to get Snowspeeder Luke in, please? And so I did that one, and it's good. I'm really glad I did.
Awesome. I can't wait to see that card then.
Yeah, I've been replaying Battlefront lately, and I'm just like looping the AT. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, the original Battlefront.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was I loved that game. I played that game endlessly.
Me and my brother play it forever. The new one's really good too. I
haven't played that one as much.
Yeah, the newest sequels are landed in a really solid place.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's all I have for you today. So appreciate you hanging out.
Yeah.
All of you, remember during the month of December we have a massive giveaway going on. So make sure you comment and like. We're giving away a box of Spark,
Okay.
a box of Twilight,
Uh-huh.
and then we have 3 OP packs from each of the first sets, including a initiative token sealed for all the sets.
And
We're giving
then you
away-
can chaos draft with those boxes in some weird combination.
Well,
Yeah.
so the box are going to an individual winner
Oh.
each. They won't get both. So
If one winner finds the other winners and steals it from
Yes,
them, then you can do that.
absolutely. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, MJ.
Yeah, thank you. It was a blast.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
See ya.